you really like tarot, this is going to be for you. And if for any moment you don't understand it, it's okay. It's really geeky. But if you want to understand it and you don't understand it, hit me up and I will explain it again to you. But because it's kind of complicated, it's just interesting. So tarot started with kind of the Marseille traditions, came out of like France and Italy and the Renaissance kind of tarot, which was not super esoterified yet. But I mean, maybe it was, who knows, it could have been, but secretly. But in that time, I think it was king, queen, knight, and knave, I think was the 4 like offices. And that was cool. When the Golden Dawn came in and started messing with Kabbalah and tarot, they took these 4 offices and they attributed to them the sacred name of God, the Tetragrammaton, which is Yod He Vav He. Now, this name is so cool, like the coolest name to name drop, because it's like the creation of the universe, like it's the big name, Big Daddy God. Okay, so this Tetragrammaton, and this is in the guide, Yod He Vav He, attributed to the 4 offices. They changed the 4 offices to better express this sacred name, which also expresses the 4 elements and the 4 seasons and anything that's 4. Lots of 4s. We love 4. So the knights became the first office because the knight is moving, and the idea with the yod in the motion of the knight is it's the primum mobile, the first mover of the universe, which is technically not quite yod but kind of yod. It's like this first, because there's nothing before. It's this urge, it's this question, it's this, I wonder what's going to happen to the universe, like before the Big Bang. The motion that starts the whole thing is the knight. That motion, this knight on horseback, is received by the queen who sits in a throne. So the throne so the knight represents the masculine aspect of the name. The queen represents the feminine aspect of the name connected to the first letter He. And so they have this dance, right? And we were talking about this binary dance since the beginning, right? This whole like polarity coming together. They come together, the horse, the steed, combines with the throne to create a chariot, which is their son, which is the Vav. Okay, so they come together to create now their son, and then the son eventually marries the daughter. The daughter is the princess, so we have a prince and a princess here instead of like a knight and a knave situation. The prince and the princess are the lower forms of the masculine and the feminine, as they are created by the upper forms of the masculine and feminine. So it's polarity up here creating polarity down here. So it's the macrocosm creating the microcosm. So what happens in the Thoth deck is these cards explain a method of ascent up the tree of life to have a form of awakening, but they also explain the manifestation of the universe through this polarity of masculine, feminine, the prince being the sun, being the combination of these two, and then the princess. So we get that. So the Golden Dawn, that's kind of how the Golden Dawn kind of did things. Now they have more than one name for every court card. So if you go and like study the Golden Dawn stuff, you'll see it says prince, but also king at the same time. But then it'll say, you're like, oh my God, what? The basic thing to understand is it on a horse? Is she in a throne? Is he in a chariot? And is she standing? If she's standing, she's a princess. If he's in a chariot, it's a prince. It's a vav. It's a number 3 office. If she's chilling in a throne, it's a queen. And if it's on a horse, it's a knight. So they kind of created this system, which to me is more deeper. It's deeper than like the older system, and that's what they worked with. Now, when Arthur Edward Waite made his deck, he pulled things back and used the offices of the old school tarot deck. So we have king, queen, knight, and page. So we kind of switched back the knight and the king so that the king's up. Now, it makes sense for the king to be up top and like normally, but when the knight's up top, you get this idea of the primum mobile. And the king, being the 3rd place now, is the microcosm. And that's the idea of, there's a lot of things connected to this idea of the microcosm. The microcosm is us reflecting the whole universe. The universe being the macrocosm, we're the microcosm. And the idea is when we hit the microcosm is the king of kind of, we're the king of the world. We're the human race, baby. Like, look how much we're doing. We're taking over. So we're the microcosm. So yeah, I would say, so that happened. And then when Waite produced his deck, he didn't want to go in, from my understanding and from my interpretation of his work, I feel like he didn't want to bring that level of depth to his deck because he created the Waite deck to be a deck used by everyone, used by the masses. And it's great the way it's set up. Like, it actually reads really well in the way it's set, but it's not, like, from my understanding, he was like, we don't need to work with a sacred name, so he kind of just brought it back to, like, how it used to be. So what I do, is anyone lost yet? Or we're all good? Cool. It's like a lot. So what I do, and this is not what everyone does, and there are amazing authors and tarot people that do it my way, and there are amazing people that do it the other way, but my way's right. Let's be honest. I look at the kings of the Rider Waite Smith deck, the kings of the deck that is most popular, that most decks are based off of. I look at them as the princes in the Thoth deck. So if I were to take the Rider Waite Smith deck and put it over here, I would start out with the knight, and I would say the knight equals knight, and then queen equals queen. And then for princes, the princes of the Thoth deck, to me, equal the kings of the Rider Waite Smith deck, and then the princesses equal the pages. The reason why I do that is because if you go into the books, and by the books I mean like the Black Brick, the Golden Dawn, written by Israel Regardie, which has book T in it, if you look at all the symbols that are attributed to the cards, the symbols that are on the Rider Waite Smith deck of the kings, to me, fit more in this prince place. And the symbols on the knights of the Rider Waite Smith deck fit more with this office. And this was hard for me. When I learned all this, I was like, oh my God, Rider Waite Smith, what am I gonna do? The short answer is they're slightly different systems. But the way I kind of view it is you have knight, queen, king, and then page. So this is also connected to the 4 elements. And this is actually the real reason why I do this, is because when you do it this way, the kings of the Rider Waite Smith deck become the element of air. And the element of air is the element of the mind. And the knights are fire. And fire is all about action and energy, and air is all about choice and the mind and ego and self and like intellect. And the thing is, kings don't do stuff. Kings sit down and tell other people to do stuff. So the knights are the ones that are doing the stuff, right? They are the fire, they are the energy, they're the young, like impetuous, like untrained, but like excited. They're so fire. The kings are so air, because they're like sitting, they're planning, they're thinking, what do I want to do with my kingdom? Kings aren't fire, they're too old. They're like me, The knights are in air, they're not smart, they gotta mess up, they gotta make mistakes. But the beauty behind this is the fire, when you put it in this way, is that the fire of these knights, there's both a wisdom to it, but there's also this divine, unscrupulous nature to happen to the court card. They're racing, they're like, they're going. And that same divine, unscrupulous nature to just happen is found again in the princesses. And that is one of the deep secrets about this deck, is that what happens at the end meets what happens in the beginning for an infinite cycle. Did that answer your question? Okay, cool. I love that question. You can tell I love that stuff. But yeah, but listen, if you guys want kings to be fire, it's cool. Okay? I won't judge you.